Pastor David here from Salina, Kansas. Yeah, it's cold here. It's flat. A lot of farmland in this particular town, but I've had the privilege the last couple of days to be a part of a church here. I was at their church leadership conference, and now I'm speaking in their 3 services this morning. I want to read a passage to you, Ephesians chapter 2, first 3 verses. And you were dead in your trespasses and sins, in which you formerly walked, according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, of the spirit that is now working in the sons of disobedience. Among them, we too all formerly lived in the lusts of our flesh, indulging the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, even as the rest. You know, there is a certain sense in which some of us feel the depth of that a whole lot more than others. And I want to bring you in a little bit to the ministries of what's going on in this church right here. These are people who feel the depth of that. This church has really carved a niche in reaching out to people who were experiencing drug addictions and who were really just, they could feel the sense of hopelessness and lostness that was a part of their lives, hitting rock bottom. There's a bunch of damage that they've left in their wake because of decisions that they've made, money that they stole so they could buy drugs, just the relationships that were thrown aside, the damage that was done to parents and other family members because they were on a course of darkness that leads to death. And they feel that deeply. Sadly, many of us don't feel that as deeply. We look at our lives and we might think, well, I wasn't that bad. I mean, I actually lived a fairly good life. But what we all need to grasp is that regardless of whether there's a lot of damage that we've done in our past, a lot of sin that just consumed us and really destroyed us, or whether we just lived good Christian lives in the church, grew up in a Christian family, we all need to understand the depth of our sin. Paul says we were all there. I mean, any sin that separates us from God is huge. Any sin, no matter how small it is darkness. It's the course of this world. It's walking in that darkness that has no light, that is contrary to God. We were enmity with God. We were in hostility toward God, as we learned in the book of James. We were separated from Him. We need to feel that in its deepest places in our hearts, because once we understand that, then what Paul says next makes the most incredible sense to us. It's the most good news we possibly could hear. But God, in the midst of all that mess, but God, being rich in mercy because of His great love with which He loved us, even when we were dead in our transgressions, made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved. And then Paul picks it up later on, also in verse 8, for by grace are you saved through faith. It is not of yourself. It's a gift of God. It's not of works. None of us can boast. None of us can say, I was living a good life and God got me. No, you were dead. You were hopeless. You were in darkness. You were following the course of this world. We all were as far separated from God as we possibly could be. No one was any closer to God than anyone else. When you're separated from God, you are separated to the max. God stepped in by His grace. I want you to appreciate that today. I want you to let that be yours in ways that maybe it never has before. But God, being rich in mercy, can we shout a hallelujah to that? Can we be grateful for that today? Can we offer up thanksgiving to God because of that rich mercy that He demonstrated for us in the cross and took dead people, separated from Him, and made us alive? That is such good news. And there's people around us who are separated from God even to this day. And they need to hear that good news as well. So even as we grow in gratitude and express that thanksgiving to God, may we also be proclaimers of this good news to a world that needs to hear. God bless you, Cornerstone. Be thankful for your salvation and be proclaimers of that message to others. May God bless your day.